So I was scrolling on my Facebook feed the other day, and one of my friend's posts came across my feed that, quite frankly, really upset me. The post was about a company that was unaliving porcupines in order to collect their quills, usually for like crafting purposes and whatnot. The post said, "We have 67 on the floor and another 60 more to bring in the back." And there's really no mention of them like using the porcupine meat or anything, seeing how it's just kind of laid out here. Porcupine meat, it's not usually one that's eaten much. It's not very desirable. So the reason that this upset me is because you don't need to kill a porcupine in order to get its quills. There's a lot more ethical ways to do it. You can do what's called quilling, where you throw something like a blanket, a jacket, some styrofoam, whatever, over a porcupine in order to collect their quills. They don't shoot out quills like people seem to think that they do when something's going after them, but if something's touching them, they will release those quills and it will get stuck in like that blanket, that styrofoam, again, whatever you're using. And you might be sitting here thinking, okay, well, that's terrible, I hate that, but why are you bringing this up? Like, you're not even doing a call to action to say, let's boycott this specific company. I'm actually bringing up the porcupine quills because it made me think of something kind of similar, where you can ethically harvest something without causing any kind of harm to the animal, or you can unalive the animal in order to harvest the parts. One of my videos recently has been getting popular again for some reason, where I'm talking about feathers. So feathers, of course, can be picked up off of the ground without causing any harm to birds. Birds naturally shed feathers, and picking them up you don't have to unalive the bird. So my video is about how you can't do this because of the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. Now, there are some legal species. This is a chicken, we've got peacock, we've got wild turkey, and we've got pheasant. You can have all of these. But I can guarantee you right now, you don't know which one of these feathers was plucked off of a dead bird versus taken from a live bird that they just naturally molted. Same thing goes for porcupine quills. I have no way of knowing if these were taken off of a deceased porcupine or if they were collected in a way that doesn't unalive the porcupine. So when people say, oh, well, why does it matter you can harvest something ethically? It's because we can't tell how it was collected. So when people are telling me they don't care about things like the Migratory Bird Treaty Act or they don't like the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, we have these protection laws for a reason. It's because people were abusing the gifts that nature was giving us, essentially. They were taking more than they needed. They were taking more than the habitat could sustain. They were taking more than what could be replaced. And it scares me to see people doing this with other species because it's not well regulated enough. I would hate for porcupines to become endangered, especially when you could be harvesting these quills from them without causing any actual harm to the animal. If you're going to be the kind of person who tells me you don't care about the laws, you're going to do it anyways because you just really want it, I'm going to see you for the selfish person that you are, and I'm going to make note of it. You may not like the laws, but they exist for a reason. We should care about protecting animals, and I don't know why people are so against that, especially when there's alternatives. Now, I really hope nothing bad happens to porcupines. They are an important part of our ecosystem, and they are so slow, and it's really easy to just ethically harvest their quills if you want that. I don't want to see them get to the point that birds were at before we finally got some protection laws where we already lost some species. So I guess what I'm trying to get at here is just because you don't understand why a law doesn't exist doesn't mean that there's no good reason for that law to exist. We should care about protecting nature and not taking more than we need from it. We should care that these animals are here in the future and that we're not taking so much that the natural ecosystems are going to suffer for it. Also, please, if you're buying animal remains, be careful about who you're buying from, whether it's something as simple as a feather or a quill, or some, taxidermy, some pelts, bones, whatever. Pay attention to what's going on with that species of animal and kind of familiarize yourself with what the ethical taking practices are and are not. I know it sounds weird to say that there's an ethical way to take animal remains, but it's absolutely true, there is. And if we don't take ethically, more laws are going to be made, which is going to upset more people, but also it means that we have failed at a fundamental level. Let's learn from our past so we don't make the same mistakes again in the future.